Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. This is an ongoing bonus series as we take a look at those TV shows from the past. On this episode, we are going back into the Wayback Machine as we take a look at the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. And if you are enjoying these episodes, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. Now, sit back and enjoy this special bonus episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we are covering the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. This show was created by Jay Ward, Alex Anderson, and Jay Scott. It aired from November 19th, 1959 to January 27th of 1964. The production companies were Jay Ward Productions, Gamma Productions, Gerald Ray Studios, and Format Films Incorporated. The show aired originally on ABC from November 19th, 1959 to July 10th of 1961, and then the show was resurrected to air on NBC from September 24th, 1961 to July 27th of 1964. There was a total of 163 episodes. So let's take a look at the production. The idea for the show was created by Alex Anderson and Jay Ward, who had met on a show called Crusader Rabbit. The original idea of the show was called the Frostbite Falls Review, and it was an idea that never got beyond the idea stage. The idea initially was that the group would consist of forest animals, including Rocket J. Squirrel, Osaki Bear, Canadian Moose, Sylvester Fox, Blackstone Crow, and Flora Fauna. And the moose would go on to be eventually, this was what would be named Bullwinkle, and he was named after a car dealership in Berkeley, California. Ward wanted to produce the show in LA, but Anderson, who lived in San Francisco, did not want to relocate. Ward would hire Bill Scott as his head writer, and then production would begin on a pilot featuring two of the characters, Rocky the Flying Squirrel in 1958, with his pal Bullwinkle. General Mills liked what they saw and would soon sign on as a series sponsor, but their one condition is that this show would run in the afternoon time slot. An animation studio called Gamma Productions was set up in Mexico to animate the series. This was deemed financially attractive to General Mills, but would cause lots of production problems, as they later would state that the work would come back with lots of mistakes and they would have to be redone, which would cost obviously more money. The show would finally premiere on November 19th, 1959 on ABC under the title of Rocky and Friends. The show would follow American Bandstand and would become the highest rated daytime program. In September 24th of 1961, the show would be moved to NBC and broadcast in color and would be shown right before Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color. NBC would cancel the show in the summer of 1964 because of low ratings. The show would run for a third time, this time called The Bullwinkle Show, in the 1981 to 1982 season on NBC on Saturday afternoons. And this one was a lot of reruns from the previous seasons. In terms of syndications, reruns of the show would air on ABC from 1964 to 1973, and again from 1981 to 1982. Reruns would also air on Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Cartoon Boomerang, so the show has stuck around throughout the ages of time. The show also has started running on Me Too TV Tunes, and along with Universal still holds the rights to the show along with General Mills, so it could come back at any time. In terms of the voice cast, we have Bill Scott, who provides the voice of Bullwinkle, Dudley Do-Right, Fearless Leader, and Mr. Peabody. June Foray provided the voice of Rocky J. Squirrel, Natasha, and Nell Fenwick. Paul Frees would provide the voice of Boris, Captain Peter Peachfuzz, Inspector Fenwick. Walter Tedley provided the voice of Sherman. Dawes Butler would provide the voice of Aesop. Hans Conrad would provide the voice of Snidely Whiplash. William Conrad would be the narrator, and Edward Everett Horton would be the narrator of the Fractured Fairy Tale segments. In terms of the show itself, the show is broken up into two Rocky and Bullwinkle adventures that would be sandwiched between a variety of segments, and these would be including Fractured Fairy Tales, Aesop and Son, or The Adventures of Dudley Do-Right. Initially, the show was introduced by a Bullwinkle puppet who would lampoon current pop culture and celebrities. This was short-lived, however, as Bullwinkle was a bit of a smart aleck type character, and in this version, he would encourage children to break the knob on the TV set so they would be sure to join Bullwinkle next week. Unfortunately, the network would receive complaints from about 20,000 viewers whose children actually broke the knobs on their television sets because Bullwinkle told them to. So with the Rocky and Bullwinkle segments, each segment would include a cliffhanger that would encourage children to attend the next week. And that was patterned off of old radio serials. And the bridge between each section would be obviously the Rocky and Bullwinkle section, and in between would be those Dudley Do-Right or Fractured Fairy Tales type segments. So in terms of the legacy of the show, in 1962, as deemed as a publicity stunt, Jay Ward actually leased a small island on the lake between Minnesota and Canada and named it Moosylvania. So Ward would actually create a campaign to have the island declared the 51st state, and he would drive a van across country to about 50 to 60 cities with collection of petition signatures. Ward actually took this so far that he actually drove up to the White House, but was turned away by President Kennedy as they were in the middle of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So obviously more priorities. TSR Inc. would release a Bullwinkle and Rocky the role-playing game in 1988. And Data East would also make Rocky and Bullwinkle Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends pinball machine in 1993. In 1999, Mattel would actually make Rocky and Bullwinkle cars under its Hot Wheel line. And in 2012, Mr. Peabody and Sherman would appear in a MetLife commercial on the Super Bowl during the Super Bowl. And in the mid-1960s, the show would promote the Rocky and Bullwinkle Savings Stamps Club, and these would have people who would bring albums of unused stamps to be exchanged for U.S. savings bonds. And Rocky and Bullwinkle was the campaign leader for this, or the publicity leader for this. So in other media versions of the characters, over the years, the characters have appeared in various commercials for various companies, including Taco Bell, Energizer, Hershey Kisses, Target, and Geico. In 1997, actually, there was a Rocky and Bullwinkle opera, and this was produced by the Los Angeles Opera, and they created a children's opera, and it was called Les Mousses, The Operatic Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. And the show would tour around LA County elementary schools and would feature Rocky, Bullwinkle, Boris, and Natasha. The characters have also appeared in various comic books from several companies, including Dell Comics, Golden Key Comics, Carlton Comics, and Star Comics. And there have also been several feature films based on the characters, including Boris and Natasha the movie, the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, Mr. Peabody and Mr. Sherman, and a Dudley Do-Right live-action movie. In 1961, Golden Records would release a phonographic record with songs from the series. And in 2007, Blackstone Audio would release tracks of all the Fractured Fairy Tales. Included in other features as well, they've been also featured in various video games on the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis. And a trivia game called Rocky and Bullwinkle's Know-It-All Game would be released on the Windows 95/98 and the Mac. And then finally, Universal Studios Orlando has a theme park ride called Dudley Do-Right Ripside Falls, and this is very similar to Disney's Splash Mountain / Tiana's Bayou Adventure attraction, where guests would ride into a log ride and go on an adventure featuring Dudley Do-Right. So in terms of memories of the series, I remember watching these as a kid, and I thought they were very entertaining. I enjoy them more now because there's a lot of adult jokes, especially in the Rocky and Bullwinkle segments. There's a lot of pop culture kind of innuendo slated throughout the series there. So I do recommend you check it out. Like I said, it is on MeToons TV right now, as well as the show has been released on DVD box sets as well. So kind of a trip through memory lane on this one. So thank you so much for joining us on this special bonus episode of Disney Movie Investigation. I would love for anyone to leave a comment on what they thought or what they remember of the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. And as we look forward to our next bonus episode, we're going to be staying in the 1960s as we take a look at the original Archie show. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.